and honored to be invited to give a few remarks on the issue of creating change in our communities. In my work, I run a consulting practice called Praxis for Change, where I work on social change issues, public service issues, out of a framework of social change that I'm going to talk to you about. I also happen to be on the board of the McKnight Neighborhood Council and live here in McKnight. And the reason that I'm so particularly excited about being here tonight is that this is my home. I love my neighborhood. I love the young people in my neighborhood. One of the best young people in my neighborhood is my nephew, Cade, who lives with us. And he's going to be my AV assistant. Okay? And I'm not here with any particular solutions. The reason that I'm here and that I offered this as a framework to kind of help organize our thoughts and things about the issue of violence is that very often, incidents happen and then something else happens and then people start to, say things like, well, we need to come together, we need to do something, we need to stop the violence. This social change framework can help us organize what those things are so we can move from the outrage and the fear and the anger and the blame to actually taking action and putting it in some kind of an organized fashion. It also, as residents, and this is one of the biggest goals I think of the McKnight Neighborhood Council and other neighborhood councils who are represented here, is to hold all of us as a community, hold our elected officials, hold the commissions and the committees accountable to what their promises to us as residents of the neighborhood. And we can actually join hands together in doing that when we have a shared language and shared definitions of what it is that we're trying to do. So that's my job tonight, and so I thank you for the opportunity to do that. The conversation around violence really began, it's been going on within our neighborhood council and other neighborhood councils for years and years and years. Began in earnest when our most recent youth council really galvanized around the issue. So they held a rally, I can't remember, Jesse, it was a rally in August, September? It was a month. In September, 2 weeks after the incident that I think horrified many of us because it happened in broad daylight. Someone was murdered at the McDonald's, in the middle of the day, and all of us knew that any one of us could have been there, and the crossfire could have been right there. So this rally, I also attended the rally, was about letting people know that people care. Signs said, honk if you believe in peace, honk to end the violence. And people were honking, and we sort of created a little bit of a traffic situation, so we apologize to public safety officials for that. But it was because people were really interested, and they were really excited to see people of all ages, all cultures, all races, coming together to try to do something about it. So when I'm thinking about social change, this framework really kind of helps us organize what we're doing, what the organizations are doing, what committees and task forces come together around various levels of change. I'm going to go over these a little bit of a detail, but this is really the framework, so it's easy to kind of think about. And what I would ask all of us, and I would ask our panelists, is to think about where we all fit. Every one of us fits somewhere. If you're a parent and you're raising a child to be respectful and with nonviolent attitudes, you fit within this framework. If you're an elected official and you're working on zoning and laws and the things that improve a community, you fit here. If you're a teacher and you're providing some great education so that kids will have opportunities and know that they're going someplace, you fit here. So every single one of us, I'm convinced that if you can't find a place where you fit in, have a 5-minute conversation with me, and within that 5 minutes together we'll figure out where you fit within there. It really is a community-wide problem, and it really is a community-wide solution. And if the community is more focused on the solution than the problems, then together we can really create this vision of a violence-free community. So this first area, or this first level of the social change theory is about reframing the issue. That means defining the issue for what it is, and undefining the issue for what it isn't. The issue of violence in our community is not about people who get anything out of committing violence. I don't think people are inherently violent. I don't think that it really helps any of us to be violent. So we need to think of those ways, and we need to be intentional about how we're really talking about the issue and why it's happening. So it's about public awareness. It's about shattering the myths. It's about shattering the myths that violence happens, that it's all kids of color, that it's all poor kids, that it's all Mason Square. It's about really sort of creating the dialogues and the conversations about what it really is. Data and information. It's really about tracking. So there's some really powerful statistic gathering tools and things that I hope someone from the city and police will be telling us about. It's really about tracking where things are. It's about understanding the connections. When a neighborhood starts to have empty housing and people break in and that sort of thing, and all of those things are connected. So it's about confronting that, and it's about confronting the violent attitudes every day. The ones that start out small, and we do that person to person, parent to child, friend to friend,